rod AB is rotating with an angular velocity. So the rod AB is rotating with an angular velocity 60 radians. Okay, so this is the rod AB. And if I imagine this is a rod A B, and this is pure rotation, rod AB, this is the axis of rotation, AB is counterclockwise. So when the link is rotating counterclockwise, the vectorial form would be omega times k. This k is positive outside the paper. I mentioned this earlier. If the link is moving clockwise, the direction is inside the plane or inside the paper. In this case, it's projected. So now it's counterclockwise, it is positive k. You understood? So can I write down 60 as like 60k for the vectorial form? Correct? And what is VB? Okay, the question, let me read the question. The question is stating, find the velocity of this C slider. It slides inside the guideways, and at certain picture, you have to, I say picture because it makes more sense for the students and me as well. At these angles, you suddenly stop, and at that instant, you find the velocities of link C, link, or the point C on the link BC, and point B on the link AB. And now, what is VB? VB is pure rotation. As I mentioned earlier, if you have pure rotation and the body is moving in a round path, so suppose this is the point, this is the perpendicular, velocity is tangent to the path, and the radius is towards that. So I can say omega r, if suppose this omega, it is 60, it is 60 in the, and r is, in this case, r is 300. So can I write down 0.3 times 60k? Let's write down just the magnitude. Don't worry about k. If you multiply this together, what do you guys get for this one? 18. So this is 18. And if I write down the vectorial form, 18k. Now let's go to the next part. If I go to the next part, what is the radius? Let me show you. The radius means the length of the link. What is the radius? But look, you have to make a reference plane. If I were you, I would start with a reference axis outside the rigid body, like it's a fixed reference axis for me to conveniently actually resolve those vectors. You know, position vector is also a vector. So how would you resolve this? So if I draw a line here, this is horizontal, or if I draw this line here, this is the horizontal component of r, this is the vertical component of r. So can I write down what is this component? This is, if this is theta is 60, you can either take 60 or 30. This is your convenience or discretion. So it is moving to the left. The ith component is 0.3. Look, 0.3 cosine 30, negative I. And the jth component, this jth component, let me show you. This is again 0.3 sine 30 and going upward, so it is positive j. Do you agree with your professor? Yep. Now I want to show you this is what is the velocity. So velocity b equals to r omega. Now here there is a what is this? This is there is a little error in it because this velocity is not showing you the complete picture. So let me show you. This is the complete picture, omega cross r. Velocity of link AB. can I write down like this? Omega equals to what? 60k, and cross. You have to cross with this vector. Negative 0.3 times cosine. Negative 0.3 times cosine 30 I. So probably can you erase this portion, because this is the magnitude, because I think this is, yeah, this is correct, but it's 1.8. Was it 1.8? Let's see what's the issue here. So let me show you. This is the negative I, and what is positive? Positive 0.3 sine theta. Now let's do the math here. Cross multiply. So I would just make a circle to show you the direction of the I, J, K. If you cross I with J, in this case K crosses with I. So K crosses with I is a positive clockwise direction, so you get J. So 60 times 0.3, it is 18. Sorry, this is not 18. We have to multiply this. Now, can you help your professor? In my notes, this is equal to negative 0.424. Let me see. Is it negative? 1 second. I have to redo this, or you can help me. What do you guys get? Do you get VB? In my notes, it is negative 9I, negative 15.6J. So let's do this. How do I get negative 9I? So multiply 60 by this coefficient and multiply 60 by this coefficient. K cross J is K cross J. It gives you negative. That's good. Negative 9I. Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, the I and J are flipped. It's cosine for the J and sine for the I. I'm pretty sure. Isn't it?
So am I wrong? Please correct me if I'm doing some mistake. Do you get this answer? Negative 15.6 J. Angle is 60, but I'm using 30. Is it correct?
That's what I got.
Yeah, one student verifies this is correct.
I get that for the other component.
Can you double check? Meanwhile, you can double check this, and I can show you the next link, BC. For the next link, this is VB, and this is VC going down. And the angle over here, let me show you the angle over here, it is 45. Okay guys, now meanwhile you can keep checking for the previous. You have? Yes, 30. Because if you take this as 60, this is 30 automatically. This is a perpendicular. Okay, so I'm using 30th. Okay, let's do the equation. VC equals to VB plus VC from B. So I'm using the link BC now. So let's write down in the vectorial form, and I'm going slowly here. VC from B, which is omega cross R C from B. Now omega, in this case, it is unknown. So I can write down omega BC, but if you take a look here, this is also counterclockwise. Can I write down like omega K cross R C from B? What is this vector? This vector should be resolved. along the I and j component. This is so let me write down. This is let me write down here. This is my jth component. This is my ith component. So what is this? This is equals to the length of this link is 0.6 meters. This is hypotenuse is 0.6. This is 0.6 sine 45 towards the negative I, and the other component is 0.6 cosine 45 downward direction negative j. Now if you do the math here, let's write down here. Can you see what you guys? Minus 0.6 sine 45 I unit vector negative 0.6 cosine 45 j unit vector, and now you will multiply it by k cross I gives you j, and here k cross j gives you negative I. So if you do the math, you should get this answer: minus 0.424 omega j plus 0.424 omega I, and this is my velocity of C with respect to B, velocity of point C on the rigid body with respect to B. Now let's find out what is, we have to find out the velocity of C. This is going down. If you take a look, visual inspection says that the piston is moving downward. You have to also visualize the problem rather than relying on the math only. So if it is going down, the velocity of VC, can I write down like this? Negative. Do you agree with your professor? And what is the velocity of B? Velocity of B is this one. We already calculated it. So don't worry about this portion. So I'm erasing this portion. This is not correct. The other one is correct. I got confused with the radius, which is aligned with the vertical. So radius is not aligned. We have to resolve the radius. Okay, now let's do this here. So now I can use this equation. Let's plug it in. Negative VC, let me arrow, this is negative VCJ. VB, whatever this VB is, you just keep writing like negative I, negative 15.6J. And then this, the VC from B, negative 0.424 omega J, negative 0.424 omega I. Now, let me explain to you one thing. If you see one equation with I and J components, one equation contains two separate equations. You have to separate the coefficients, equate separately. I component should be equated separately and J component should be equated separately if it is one equation having the I and J components. So let me separate the I components and equate them here. And you will get a lot of information from there. So before I go do the math, I want to show you, this is omega BC, because we okay, both are BC, so we don't need to worry about it. So I don't need to sub, because in some cases we have two different links. So let me write down 0 on the left hand side, negative 9, negative 0.424 omega, and that will give me omega equals to, if you do the math, can you help your professor? Is it negative or positive? I'm sorry, there is little error. This is positive. This is positive because I noted down negative, which is not correct. So it is positive. What do you guys get from here? One student says 21.2 radians per second. Let's find out jth component equation. Left hand side is negative VC. The right hand side is negative 15.6 and negative 0.424 omega. So omega you already calculated as 21.2. So now we have one equation, one unknown, which is VC. It is 24.6. So this is your answer.